But then as we get into the conversation, for me, the question was regulatory workforce development as an imperative for pandemic preparedness, response, recovery, and sustainable investment in health system strengthening as a critical priority for us. And that is what we had here. So if we're talking about health systems resilience and we're talking about regulatory workforce development, then we need to ask ourselves, where are we investing, with who are we investing, and for what are we investing? I'll tell you for a fact, from the journey that I've gone through, I didn't get into RA because I knew what RA entailed. Honestly, somebody took a chance on me. And luckily enough, the people who took a chance on me, some of them are in this house, taking me into CAPI when I knew nothing. And I started as an admin, by the way, just so you know. Then from the admin position, somebody took a chance on me again, and I got into RA. And I've loved the journey so far, and I really, really feel like it's a good space that we can make a difference in the society and make a substantial investment. The question is, how does that relate with what we're talking about today? If you're going to serve our communities, if you're going to make a difference in whichever line of pursuit that you're in, you have to be at your best. The only way you'll be at your best is when you have the skills, you have the knowledge, and you have the platform to do the job. If you're a pharmacist and you have no place where you'll practice, my friend, however good you are, we'll never know how good you are. If you are a farmer and there's no farm, there's never a way that will determine that you're a farmer, right? We'll never know it. And that is where, for me, the priority is, how do we start from a point of building capabilities of individuals to be at their best? That is in workforce development. And I heard somebody talking about they have a YouTube channel. And that is how the journey started for me as well in a bit. I was writing a lot of articles, LinkedIn, the Spark, which is a blog that I run as well, and my YouTube channel, a little bit of it. I was like, yes, I'm talking about these things, but how can we structure it so that it's structured training and capacity building that is happening within our space? Then as we learn on it and we're able to do what needs to be done, we're able to move people forward to now exposing them to what possibilities and what opportunities are there. And most importantly, you need somebody to take a chance on you. And I'm glad that as we started the journey, some of the people in the room took a chance on us and actually have been willing and engaging and supporting us along the journey. Chris is one of those people. Thank you so much. Now I'm getting into the policy space, so I'll be your student for life. Let us get into that journey. And thank you. So then after all the learning that we've done through the class, the discussion that we've had, you've had the aspect from the policy, the programs from John Paul, we talked the policy and intelligence, the self-care from Eva, the leadership and the dynamism of the industry. The ultimate bit then from the generosity that Ijai talked about is, where do you play? As much as we are working now, as much as we are having conversations on regulatory affairs, regulatory practice, most of us operate from that level. Somebody wants to hijack me. So most of us operate from that interface to a greater extent. We work within the clinical research space, clinical trials, research and development and all that, which is the core of our practice. Then those of us working in the industries, pharmaceutical companies, medical device companies, we get to the aspect on new product application. You are registering products and then you maintaining them. You move to the life cycle maintenance component, variations, retentions, renewals, and that becomes the core. If you go to another extent down the pharmacovigilance aspect, quality aspect, you'll go to the post-marketing surveillance studies and studies that might relate to the ultimate outcomes of those products that are being used in the market. But then we limit ourselves to that pillar, to that segment. There is a product, if it's this remote, this is the product you're managing, it is going to be developed by somebody. Most of the times research and development is not working in Africa. So even in the clinical trial space, we are doing clinical trials in phase 3, 4, modestly phase 1, but can we start from the initial phase? There's an opportunity, right? So that is an avenue that we can get into. But then we dominate the two hexagons that we have there, the new product application, life cycle maintenance, then we move to the post-marketing surveillance a little bit on the pharmacovigilance end. Then we stop it at that. Luckily enough, there's now growing interest and attention. And from the work that John Paul has talked about, the work that Chris has also talked about on policy, we see there's that regulatory intelligence. You can only do what you know about. And if you're going to practice and you don't know what you're going to do, then there's a gap. And that is where now you'll find somebody coming in to distill that intelligence. First, you do landscape analysis to understand what is there. Distill it in a way that it makes sense. If I'm an investor, can you give me a justification and an argument as to why I should invest in that space? It is you understanding the regulatory market. And I think that is where now the public health knowledge comes in. Epidemiology. What is it? The tropical medicine aspect. What we are in the tropical region. What are the disease burdens? What are the dynamics? Can we influence a case for a product to come into our market from a regulatory standpoint? Those are possibilities for us. Then the regulatory policy. There's never going to be regulation unless we work in countries, right? There's governments. From the international treaties, continental treaties, regional agreements, national laws and policies, to the specific guidance document that are established by regulatory authorities and even our internal companies where we play. Can you shape those policies so that they have to meet the ultimate needs of regulatory affairs? And that is safeguarding public health interest, but also driving innovation and growth so that you're able to operate sustainably. That is critical for us. So are you able to inform those practices? But on the second bit is it going to be responsive to the market needs? Responsiveness to the market needs. The risk is we are developing policies in certain spaces which are not responsive to the market needs, which means we are killing the market by regulating it. But if the market doesn't exist, will we get the medicines? Will we get the technologies that we need? So how do we get the balance between the market and the regulation of safeguarding public health interest? That needs to be there. And the focus on the ultimate outcome. And I think that is an avenue that we can explore and we need to explore. Then the digital technology space. We said tulikuwa tunakuja na files 5. Now we are uploading them on the PPB portal. Now they're saying we are going into e-wallets again, retentions. All these dimensions and advances are good for us to have. But the question you need to be asking yourself, internationally we have the ICH. There's a harmonized standard of what a dossier should look like. Then locally, we're also submitting those ICH documents as they are. But the question is our IT system compatible, seamless, and efficient for us to be able to do that? Can you go to the PPB portal now and download the dossier that you submitted comprehensively in a single click, the way it should be? Maybe not. But the question you need to ask yourself is, where is the gap? We have developers, right? They have the technical IT programming skill. But then do they know the dossier sectioning and modeling as it should be? Which opportunity would exist for you as a regulatory affairs professional and expert understanding the technicality from the pharmacy side to collaborating with an IT developer to develop a system? And when you look at the ECTD in the developed markets, we're talking about actually interoperability within the systems. I don't have to submit on their portal. I just need to have a linking interface where once we've compiled our dossier, then it can be visible on their end. If I'm making a change, I make a change on my end, it is reflected as a submission on their end, and I need to process the payment and get it sorted. That is what technology should be. Technology is not about regenerating documents over time, and then you get to a point where it's too much work that is not necessary. It's not productive work. And if you're not productive, you're not getting the success that we're hoping for. Then the last bit is, if we innovate, if we develop products, we bring them to the market, they must be used. And we need to ask ourselves, if you're talking about all these access, then is the patient able to access it? Is it available? Is it accessible to them? Is it affordable to them? And what are the barriers around that from a regulatory bottleneck? Maybe there's a financing gap. Have you reviewed the social health insurance fund bill that is being proposed? What are the dynamics of it? What are the nuances? What are the other issues that might come in? Probably it's an access policy, but then you don't even have, I think there's something that John mentioned on emergency use authorization of medicines. For it to be authorized for use in an emergency case, they need to guarantee that actually in case of any incident, you have the proper framework and structures to intervene, to protect the patient. Do we have such mechanisms? Because if you don't have them, then you will not get the emergency use authorization. Meaning a patient will die somewhere, will suffer a consequence of maybe a defective product because you did not have the systems in place. So you need to look at how do we then drive access on affordability, availability, and from a regulatory standpoint, we have an opportunity there. And we have to see how we get to play within this other space. And not that the other side is saturated, no, it's not. And that is why this is the market. Most companies are coming into our market and we have to be ready for those opportunities. But as much as we are ready for those opportunities, we also need to look at what are the next frontiers. Because if we don't do those stuff in an efficient way, then our market will not be as lucrative as it should be. And if it's not lucrative, then it means even those jobs will go. But the only way we can make it as lucrative is investing in these other pillars and these other components. And I'm challenging you, let's think of regulatory affairs beyond the norm, beyond the convention of what we're used to. That would make a whole lot of difference. And that is all that I have to share. And I'll just get you to the next steps. Africa Pharmaceutical Network, these are some of the options and the next steps and what we are looking at. We have a membership. I think it wants you to go home. So there's the membership component. For those who are willing to engage and work with us, there's a membership which is at individual level and also at corporate level. And we're looking at having access across the African market. And next year we have kind of strategies that we'll be sharing as well on how that looks like. And that would be the next frontier for us in building membership. For those who are keen and willing to engage and join us, there's the QR code on the left, on the right, on the other side, which is for those who would want to join. You can scan it, but we will also share the additional information as we move along the journey. For learning is the starting point, and that is why we are training. So we learn, and we have a number of courses that are coming up. If you go to our website, currently there's that nurturing the next generation of future leaders in the pharmaceutical industry that has been accredited by the PPB, the CPD accredited, yes, but also it has gotten the seal of accreditation from the FIP, International Pharmaceutical Federation. So you can access it, but then we have additional programs that are coming in. There's pharmacovigilance that is under development, quality assurance, pharmaceutical supply chain management, digital health technologies and digital health practice in the pharmacy space, and global health pharmacy. So those are the first priority ones that are coming in, and we are working on those to come out from next year and along. Thought leadership. All of us know the people who have talked to us, right? They are the experts in their spaces, and they are the people we are engaging with because we know there's some uniqueness. If John Paul goes to the Minister for Health today, there's that level of expertise that he has in that domain that he'll be listened to. If David goes, maybe not. But that uniqueness in that thought leadership is what is critical for us. Can we build ourselves to be the thought leaders anchored and grounded on the same principles of access, quality, and integrity so that we're able to serve the public? If that happens and you're the right thought leader in the right place, would really drive that growth and will make the best leaders and will make a transformation in our landscape. And that is one thing we are hoping we can do sustainably, consistently in the long term. And it doesn't mean that you have to practice for 30 years. Now you can start now where you are. That unique knowledge and unique insight that you have, we are offering that platform. Take advantage of it and let's make the best of it. The business ecosystem support, we work with stakeholders, we work with engagements, and the opportunities that are coming in. David, I'm not able to do all the work, and I have already a job that I'm okay with. Can we use this platform to give you the opportunity to offer your services to people who need that opportunity? And how do you give them that support? And how do we even let's say for just market intelligence, we have people who don't have fixed jobs at the moment. Imagine if you could do just regulatory intelligence scoping. We look for people who need that, you facilitate that linkage, you are serving them. But you're opening up our local market, and that is operating in the next domain that I was talking about. It's critical for us to envision that future and work on that future. Then the last bit, partnership and collaboration. We are not going to do this alone. If all of you didn't come to this dinner, we wouldn't be having this dinner. For if all of you did not enroll for the class that you enrolled for, we wouldn't be having a graduation pass-off now. So collaboration is key. How can we work together? And we work together grounded on the fact that we're making a difference in every little way that we're doing it. We are moving forward to the next frontier. And that is all we hope for. So thank you so much. For those who would want to enroll for cohort 3, which is actually a running cohort for the next year, you can scan the QR code on my left, which is on your right for those who are facing me. So let's keep moving and see what we can do forward. Asanteni sana for being part of this, and I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity. Asante.